Okay, I'm going to do 7 and 8 over here using the bottoms up method because it's one of those that it takes a little bit of practice to get used to. But once you get the hang of it, it's actually fairly straightforward as opposed to sometimes our grouping stuff gets a little wild. So if we look at number 7, using bottoms up here, I still need to get my A times C and my B so that we can figure out the two numbers we need. So my A is going to be this number in front of my x squared, that's the 3. And my C is this negative 11. So our 3 times negative 11 is going to be negative 33. Our B value is the middle term here, so that's going to be our 32. So we're looking for a pair of numbers that multiplies to make negative 33 and adds to make a positive 32. Well, whenever they're that close together, a lot of times that's going to be when we have our 33 and 1. So if we think about 33 and 1, if I need them to add to make a positive 32, I need the 1 to be negative, because since that top number is negative, I know only one of my side numbers is negative. So in order to set up our bottoms up, what we're going to do is we're going to set this up like we didn't have an A value, where I'd have my x with a minus 1 and x with our positive 33, but we do not stop here because we need to divide both of those numbers by the A. So this is 1 over 3, and this is 33 over 3. So we have to set it up like this. Have to. If you do not have this piece, your factors are wrong. So you must set it up with the bottom here in order for this to work. Otherwise, if we don't have the bottom, we can't do the up part. So you've got to get that denominator on there. So then what we're going to do is we're going to see if we can simplify either of these fractions. So my x minus 1/3, I can't simplify that down at all. However, 33 divided by 3 does simplify. So we have 11 there. So when we simplify, sometimes our denominators go away. This one's not going to have a number in front of my x. We're just going to wind up with x plus 11. On this guy, what we need to do is we need to take this bottom part and bring it up. So in order to get this all the way to the end, I need to take that denominator and put it in front of the x. So we're going to have our 3x, and then we're left with just the 1 over here. And we're going to have our x plus 11. So that gives us our factored form here. I'm going to do the same thing for number 8, practicing that bottoms up technique. Again, you don't have to use this. It's one of those, whichever method you have that works well for you, use that. I'm just showing you some of the most common options, and I feel like box and bottoms up are the two that most people tend to gravitate towards. So let's look at number 8, and I'm going to use bottoms up again. If you use the box, you should get the exact same factors. If you use split the middle or any other techniques we have, you can do whatever you want. So you should be able to get the exact same factors though. So we're going to have our A times C over B. So I'm taking my 7 that's in front of my x squared and my negative 3 that's down here on the end. So that's going to give us negative 21. So my top number is negative. That means I'm going to have one positive number and one negative number. And my B is negative 4. So if it's not something we spot, make a list of our factors that multiply to make that top number. So I need a pair of numbers that multiplies to make 21. So I'm going to see what numbers multiply to make 21. I know 1 and 21 will multiply to make 21. 21 doesn't divide by 2, but it does divide by 3. And it's going to be 3 and 7. And those are actually the only factors that 21 has. So if I need one of my numbers to be negative, and my B is going to be negative 4, that means I need my negative 7 over here and my positive 3. So those are going to be our two numbers that we're going to work with here. So I'm going to set this up like we can use the shortcut. So I'm going to set this up with my x and a minus 7. And I'm going to have an x with that positive 3. But I'm not stopping, because I need to divide this piece by my a value, and I need to divide this piece by my a value. It's really important that we have those pieces. So what I'm going to do now is I need to come through and simplify my fractions. I'm going to have my x minus 7 divided by 7 gives me 1. And on this one, my 3/7 doesn't really simplify. There's nothing that I can simplify here. So we could rewrite it and then take our bottom up. But on this one, I already can see that there's nothing I can do. And this guy's fully simplified. So I'm just going to do this and take the bottom up over here. There's nothing I can do to simplify it. So let's rewrite this as our 7x plus 3. In order to check these so that we can make sure we're doing these right, you can always multiply them back together. If I was to distribute these out, I should get exactly what we started here with. So give these a practice, take a look at them, and let me know if you have any questions.